All right, hello everybody. So today we're going to talk about the inequalities quizzes that I had you do. 5 questions, all going to be about inequalities and their graphs. So your goal was to match the inequality to the correct graph here. To do that, you needed to solve it. So let's start with number 1. All right, number 1. X plus 2 is less than or equal to negative 7. All right, so we want to solve for x here. So I'm looking at this and I see this side with our x on it has a plus 2. So I need to get rid of that 2. To do that, I'm going to do the opposite operation. If we're adding, that means we're subtracting 2 on both sides. So then we're left with an x, because 2 minus 2 is 0, is less than or equal to negative 7 minus 2. That's going to give us negative 9. Cool. All right, so let's look at the graph here. So I know we're going to start at negative 9, and then all of our other information is going to be held right here. So we have a less than or equal to. All right, so that equal to sign is going to tell me that the circle that we put right here is going to be filled. This is going to be a solid circle for us. And then x is less than, so we're going to go in the same direction as our arrow and fill that guy in. So we are less than or equal to negative 9. Cool. All right, number 2. All right, this one has a couple more things to it, and that's just fine. So let me split this at our inequality symbol. So we are looking for x again. So let's see, we have a 5 and an 8 on this side. Remember, we're going to solve these just like our multi-step equations. So we want to start with adding or subtracting first, and then multiplying or dividing. So the number that's being added here is 8. So to get rid of that, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. That's going to leave us with 5x, because 8 minus 8 is 0. And that's greater than or equal to negative 2 minus 8. That's going to give us negative 10. Okay. Still looking for x here. It's still not alone. We have a 5 here. So 5 is being multiplied by x. So I'm going to do the opposite and divide so that we can get rid of that 5. Just like that. All right, that's going to leave us with x is greater than or equal to negative 10 divided by 5 is going to be a negative 2. Okay. So x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So I'm going to start at negative 2 on my graph. Then I'm going to look at that sign in the middle. So this sign is saying we have x is greater than or equal to. All right, because of that equal to sign, we are going to fill in our circle here. And then it's greater than, so we're going to the greater side of our graph, or following the arrow, just like it says. Greater than negative 2. Greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay, number 3. All right, so same situation. We are going to draw our line to show our different sides, and then we're going to start with our adding or subtracting first. So it looks like the 5 is being added. So to get rid of it, I see it's a positive 5, so I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. All right, 5 minus 5 is 0, so we're going to have x over 3 on this side is less than 8 minus 5. That's 3. Okay, so we have x over 3. Remember, this fraction symbol is the same thing as a division symbol. So this means x divided by 3. Opposite of dividing is going to be multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. So then these will cancel out to give us a 1x is less than 3 times 3. That's 9. Okay. Graph is going to start at 9. And then we're going to look at our symbol here. So this is a less than symbol. Since it doesn't have that line underneath it to say less than or equal to, we are just going to leave our circle empty. And then it's less than, so we're going to follow that arrow going this way for less than. So x is less than 9. All right, next one. We have -3 times the quantity of p plus 1 is less than or equal to -18. All right, so remember, with our multi-step equations, the very first thing we had to take care of were those parentheses. We needed to distribute. So we're going to do the same thing here. We got -3 times p, -3 times +1. Well, -3 times p is just -3p. -3 times +1 is going to be -3 as well. And then we keep our sign the same, and the other side is going to stay the same as well. Okay, so now we can start solving. We want to start with adding or subtracting first. So that means our -3 over here is going to be the first to go. Since we're subtracting, that means the opposite operation is going to be adding. All right, so then we got -3p over here because -3 plus 3 is going to be 0. Less than or equal to -18 plus 3 is going to be -15. All right, so here's the part where you really got to pay attention. Remember, these are tricky sometimes. So when you multiply or divide by a negative number, your sign, your inequality sign, has to flip in the other direction. So to get rid of this -3, we're going to have to divide by -3. But like I just said, if you do that, you're going to have to change your sign. So instead of p is less than or equal to, we're going to have p is greater than or equal to. -15 divided by -3 is going to be a +5. So don't get tripped up by that. It's the one difference that we have just because our inequality signs have the ability to change. Okay, so let's graph that. We're going to start at 5, and then we're going to look at that sign. So we have greater than or equal to. Since we have that equal to sign, we're going to have a solid circle right here. And then we're going to go in the greater than direction, which is this way. All right. Last one, number 5. Okay, so these ones were a little tricky for us when we were doing our multi-step equations, so I just want to remind you, if you see one like this where it's a fraction, I want you to immediately think that you're going to have to multiply. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. When we do that, that's just going to immediately cancel that out. You don't need to multiply times 2 on the top level here. That is not necessary. You don't need to do that. You're just giving yourself extra work. So I would just cancel those out straight up, just to get it out of the way. So then you're left with 2 times 4, that's 8, is greater than a plus 1. And that's it. Then you could just start, finish solving from here. You don't have to deal with fractions anymore. All right, so a plus 1, well, I got to get rid of the 1. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. 8 minus 1 is going to be 7, greater than a. Okay, so 7 is greater than a. If 7's greater than a, let's just rearrange this to say a is less than 7. Now, these are the same thing. Both of these are the same statement. We just rearrange them so that when we graph it, it's easier to read. So let's do that. We have 7 in the middle. And now we're saying A is less than 7. So since it doesn't have that equal to line underneath, we're going to keep it a open circle and then go in that direction it tells us, that is the less than direction, this way. There we go. Okay, now I just want to be thorough here. Don't let this step scare you. These two statements are exactly the same. I just rearranged the order, so it was easier to read for us. So you want your variable on the left side so that when you graph it, you could just follow through like we usually do and put it in, make the directions go in the correct way. All right, so that is it for these 5 questions. Hopefully they didn't give you too much trouble. If they did, you can always email me or let me know in class. But anyway, that is it. Goodbye.